and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. The source material we're looking at today is a bit different.
It is. We're working with excerpts from an audio drama, which gives us this really immediate and personal look into a community.
Exactly. No reports, no data sets, just raw emotion. And our mission really is to get a handle on how people communicate or fail to communicate when they're under these interlocking pressures.
It's a fascinating window. We've basically got three things happening all at once. There's a major relationship collapse.
A really high stakes one.
Then there's a serious physical injury that's just being ignored. And on top of that, a surprisingly fierce rivalry over some decorative tractors.
Which sounds light, but it's not. And our goal here is to pull out the lessons in all of that. How these different kinds of stress, emotional, physical, even social, how they all feed into one another.
And for you, the learner, this is all about the real cost of being overloaded. It's not just about, facts or figures. It's about how that pressure depletes your emotional resources.
Right. And how that directly leads to failures in safety, in judgment, in just about everything. We're watching people drift toward failure.
Let's start with the deepest part of the crisis, which is all around George.
Yeah. He's described as being very low after Amber decides to leave. And this isn't just a breakup, is it? It feels more like an abandonment.
It's absolutely an abandonment crisis. Amber wanted to, and I'm quoting here, get away for a bit. She needed space.
And the pressure was the marriage, right?
Yeah.
Especially because her parents were so against it.
That's the fault line. That external pressure seems to have become an internal one for her, and she just pulls away.
And Ed sees this happening immediately. He seems to be George's, his main support system.
His only support system, it seems like. And he's highly stressed himself. He says, I've never seen him this low. Which tells you how serious this is.
So Ed tries to intervene. He sets up a couple of things to, anchor George.
That's a great way to put it. He's trying to anchor him to reality. First, with physical work, getting him to help trim these huge trees at Burrow. Something difficult that requires focus.
And the second one is social. The bowling night with their friend Brad.
Yeah, and he even says George used to really love it, so he's trying to tap into a good memory, something familiar to sort of bring him back.
But the whole plan it falls apart. Because the crisis has already made George unable to trust anyone.
It shatters when Brad cancels. He calls at the last minute, says he has a critical uni assignment due the next day.
An assignment that counts towards his mark for the year. It sounds completely legitimate.
It does. It sounds like standard, unavoidable student life. But George's mind, it filters that information completely differently.
He immediately calls it a made-up assignment.
And concludes that his best mate just doesn't want to spend time with me.
So he's taking the rejection he feels from Amber.
And projecting it. Exactly. He's projecting that fear and that pain onto the one person who is actually reliable, Brad.
It's like he needs to believe everyone is abandoning him.
Because that fits the narrative, doesn't it? It fits this idea that his whole world is collapsing. If Brad is just busy but still cares, that doesn't work for his current state of mind.
And that's what leads to the really awful confrontation with Ed.
It spirals so quickly. George says his life is falling apart, everyone in the village hates him, and then the really devastating part.
That they'd all be better off if he was still in prison.
Which is classic self-sabotage. But then he escalates it. He turns it into a direct legal threat.
He threatens to call Reg.
And Reg has to be his parole or probation officer. There's no other explanation.
But he's going to lie. He's going to say he pushed Ed down the stairs.
Just stop and think about that. He's out, presumably on license, and he is actively planning to lie to his parole officer about committing a violent act.
He's trying to get himself sent back to prison.
He's manufacturing a reason to go back inside. It shows that the chaos he's feeling right now is so unbearable that the structure of prison actually seems preferable.
And Ed's response in that moment is it's incredible. He refuses to go along with the lie.
He just states the fact, you didn't push me, I fell. He holds on to reality when George is trying to rewrite it.
And then he sets that boundary. He says, I am walking away.
But he immediately qualifies it. And this is so important. He says, I'm not abandoning you.
That distinction. It's the only thing that could have worked, right?
It's perfect crisis communication. He creates physical space for his own safety, but maintains the emotional connection. And that's what forces George to snap out of it.
And he apologizes
Hey.
immediately. He tries to stop Ed, saying, I didn't mean to do that.
So Ed managed to stop the spiral. But you have to ask, at what cost to himself?
Which is the perfect segue. Because while Ed is managing George's emotional safety, he's completely ignoring his own physical safety.
Right. Let's talk about the cost of being the caregiver here.
So the job itself is pretty dangerous. They're cutting back 3 big trees, there's a chainsaw involved, overhead cables.
And Ed is doing all the high-risk work himself. George is only allowed to spot from the ground. We learn that's because of a safety warning from Hannah.
And Ed is not okay. He's not in any condition to be doing this work.
Not at all. We find out he hurt his wrist last week. Alistair sees it while he's checking on the pigs and says it looks a bit swollen.
And it hurts when he twists it, which is kind of a critical motion for using a chainsaw.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But the real issue here is what we'd call safety drift. He has a support brace for it.
But he keeps forgetting to wear it. He leaves it in the van, in his bag.
When your emotional energy is gone, like Ed's is from dealing with George, the first things to go are those little safety protocols.
Introducing the Archer's Mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information and to order your very own The Archer's Mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
The personal self-care.
Alistair steps in, though. He's like the voice of reason.
He is. He tells Ed, flat out, put the brace on before you climb anything, and you need to get that properly checked over by a doctor.
But Ed's rationalization is, well, it's classic denial, isn't it?
It is. He says he didn't think I needed to, but the really telling part is when he says he has not much choice but to keep working.
He's just minimizing it. Says driving is fine, it only hurts when he twists it.
Right.
But he's also showing how much pressure he's under.
He says, goodness, if I couldn't drive, I couldn't work. His entire livelihood is on the line. So his refusal to get it checked, it's a form of self-sacrifice.
It's like a martyrdom complex. He has to keep going, has to stay in control because he's trying to manage George's chaos.
The irony is just staggering. He sidelined George because George is a safety risk, but now Ed himself is the biggest physical risk on that job site.
Yeah, climbing trees with a chainsaw and a swollen wrist.
The burden of supporting George has literally transferred onto Ed's body. It's a physical manifestation of his stress.
And for you, the learner, you see this all the time, right? The person managing a huge crisis who just ignores their own health.
And in doing so, actually puts the entire operation at even greater risk. Denial isn't just ignoring a problem, it's an active coping mechanism to maintain the illusion of control.
Okay, let's shift gears from all that pain and self-sabotage to a very different kind of coping mechanism.
Strategic deception.
And social pressure. We're talking about the charity tractor run.
Right, and this isn't just fluff, it's a really crucial look at how performance anxiety shows up in a community.
It starts with Joy. She calls a meeting with Tony because she's worried about the theme of the whole event.
The aesthetic, yeah. She's worried that everyone's going with a Christmas theme. Eddie's got angels, Pip has a Christmas car.
And she thinks Tony's sea creatures and Hannah's space theme are going to look weird. They'll feel uncomfortable.
She's trying to manage social cohesion. She wants it to look like a unified effort.
But she's just met with laughter.
And that laughter is the sound of relief, competitive relief. Because Tony and Hannah reveal they were both lying.
The space theme, the sea creatures, it was all misdirection.
They kept their real ideas secret because they each wanted their own entry to be special, to have the biggest impact on the day.
It just shows you the pressure to stand out. Even in a small community event like this, they use deception to get a competitive edge.
And it's fascinating how quickly that playful secret keeping turns into a real rivalry.
Right there in the conversation. Tony says his tractor might be the people's favorite.
And Hannah immediately jumps in, saying hers will be the main attraction. The competition becomes explicit.
And Joy asks the million-dollar question. Why? Why are you so competitive if there isn't even a prize?
And that's the trigger. That question makes them realize that, well, there is a prize. A kind of prize.
They're all carrying donation buckets for the charity.
So the winner, the favorite, will be the one who collects the most money.
And just like that, a fun community event becomes a high-stakes financial rivalry. They've just introduced a metric for success.
A very clear metric for public approval. The best tractor isn't the prettiest anymore. It's the one that makes the most money.
That just ramps up the pressure on everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Suddenly, your fun little project is being judged on its return on investment.
It's a perfect little experiment on what happens when you introduce performance metrics into a purely social event.
So what does this all mean if we tie these three threads together?
Well, you have George, Ed, and then Tony and Hannah, and they're all struggling with performance and control.
George tried to perform like he didn't care, and it backfired into paranoia.
Ed is trying to perform functionality, and it's leading to dangerous physical denial.
And Hannah and Tony are using deception to make sure they perform successfully in this new high-stakes competition.
So for you, the learner, the big takeaway is that you have to look past the surface-level facts. It's not about Brad's assignment or Tony's sea creatures.
No, it's about the emotional truths underneath all that. The rejection, the denial, the rivalry. That's what's actually driving everything.
When people are under pressure, their communication breaks down in predictable ways. It becomes denial or misdirection, or in George's case, desperate lies. Understanding why they choose their specific method, that's the deep dive.
We see George trying to weaponize his past, right?
Yeah.
Threatening to go back to prison. And at the same time, we see Ed trying to just manage his present, despite his own body failing him. So the final thought we want to leave you with is this. Ed held the line. He set the boundary with George, and for now, he stopped a total collapse.
But look at what it cost him. His health, his own safety, his emotional energy. He is running on empty. So if George does eventually find his footing, what will be the lasting price that Ed, the caregiver, has paid for that stability? That's the invisible cost of care we need to be thinking about.
So what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Just any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's.
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever